Aloha, my friends. This is Billy Wigley coming at you live from the 9th Island, Las Vegas, Nevada. How you doing today? Are you staying positive? Because you know that PMA is the only way to go. Positive mental attitude. How do we do it? By focusing on the positives. It is easy. What's happened is if you're thinking that things are a little bit negative, a little bit down, complaining, worried about things too much, don't be worried, don't be stressing. Just be concerned. That's all. That's the difference between being stressed and worried. Worried and stressed combined together, that's not good. So we want to be just concerned, not freaking out. And the way to be concerned and not stress and freak out is just to focus on the positives. And after you do this for 14 days, they say you should do it for 21 days. I say 14 is enough to build a positive mental attitude. Just look for all the positives around you. There's plenty of them. And one positive is, well, I'm live streaming daily Excel tips. And I'm just a regular guy. Well, I happen to be Microsoft certified trainer. That's why I got my 5-year Microsoft certified trainer shirt on that I just got, even though I've been certified for 7. But that's a different story. But right now, I want you to see that, I'm live streaming live techniques because I want you to know that I'm normal. I make mistakes just like you. I just think, hey, I'm going to schedule all these live streams ahead. I pre-plan the spreadsheet, and then I wake up in the morning and let's see what we're teaching today. And you're going to see that I make a lot of mistakes, but I want you to know that that's normal. And the number one thing that you want to take away from here is no fear. Don't get mad. Get skills. Don't be afraid. Focus on the positives and just go for it. Like, check this out. Wouldn't it be cool just to be able to, instead of having to manually go through and format this every single day, wouldn't it be cool if we could just say something like, let's do this, boom, and be done with it, right? That's called a macro. And it's just a recording of a series of steps and actions that Excel turns into a little program. And then you can run it at any time, and it'll just repeat all those steps way faster than you could do it yourself. So check it out. There it is. That's what we're going to format. So let's say that every single day you get to work. One of the first tasks that you have to do is check your emails, because there's an email that you get every single morning, and that's the first thing you got to do. And it's the same exact steps that you take every single day. You're saying to yourself, look, I got to get this spreadsheet that I receive in the email every day. This one right here, the Infinity School. And then I got to go through. I mean, this is no big deal, right? But it's just a few steps that I got to do every single day. I got to go through and I got to put in some borders. Then I got to put in a thick border on the outside. Then I got to go through and I got to bold my headers. And then I got to merge and center my header row right up, or my title row. And then I want to go ahead and middle align it. Then I want to go ahead and fill it with a yellow background. Then I take my header row, and then I want to go ahead and center that. I want to give it a yellow font, and I'm going to give it a black fill. And there I have it. Now I'm done. So let's say every day I got to do these steps. No big deal, but it's every single day. I wish I could just open it up, press a button, boom, and it's done for me already. Well, you can do that. Watch this. Also, I want to give you a really quick tip. A lot of times when we're undoing actions, we go and we just undo. Oops, what's going on here? We just go through and undo like that. When we could just undo a bunch of actions at once, because you can undo up to 100 actions at a time. Here's 9, but you can undo up to 100. Whoop. there we have it. So the way to automate this process is by recording a macro. And a macro is just a series of steps and it's a recording of a series of steps and actions that Excel plays back for you way faster than you could do it whenever you want to play that tape back. So watch this. To record a macro, there's a few different ways of doing it. Let me remove the developer tab from here. And then I'm going to show you how to add it back on. But now you know how to add it because you saw me take it off. So we want to record a macro. To record a macro, we can just go right into the View tab. And in the View tab, we've got macros. So we click on the drop down for macros, and we can just go ahead and press Record Macro. So notice one other thing. Way down here on my status bar, I have a macro record shortcut right there. So I can press that button right down there. I can press that button, and then I can start recording my macro here. Let me just go through the long way. Just go to your View tab, go to Macros, and then we're going to click on Record Macros. So when I click on Record Macros, now we're starting to record a macro right here. And so I'm going to give this macro a name. I'm going to call it Format. And we could give it a shortcut key if we wanted to, but it's not necessary. And we're going to store the macro in this workbook. That means that this macro is only available in this workbook. This macro is not going to run in any other workbook. So you open up a different workbook and you want to run this macro, it's not going to work. It just works in this workbook. Now, if you wanted this macro to work in every single workbook that you open, then you would save it into your personal macro workbook. And in your personal macro workbook, that means that Excel has created a workbook that stores all your personal macros. And then when you open up Excel, Excel actually opens up two workbooks. It opens up your personal macro workbook, but it's hidden in the background. And then your new workbook, or whatever workbook you decided to open. So that way your macros are always available to you. Personal macro workbook. We're going to get into more details later on when we talk more about macros. Today we're just going to record a simple macro and store it in this workbook. You always want to create a description, because what if somebody else is using your workbook and they go to view the macros and they just see these format macro? What does it do? Okay. Or what if you recorded a bunch of macros and you don't remember what they did? And you got to be careful, because you might be saying to yourself, I'll just run the macro and see what happens. That way I'll know. Well, you can't undo macros. Once you ran it, you ran it. I'll show you. I just showed you how to do undo. You can undo up to 100 actions at a time. Watch what happens when I record a macro. So I went to View, Macros, Record. I'm giving this macro name Format. I'm not giving this shortcut today. I'm storing it in this workbook, and the description is it formats the Infinity School sheet, period. Then I press OK, and then now my macro is recording. Because if I was to view my macros again, I would see that it now says stop recording. There's the option for stop recording. Before that, it was start recording. So now we're recording. Every single step that I take is being recorded. So I'm going to go ahead and press Control A to select that entire range of data. Then I'm just going to go back to my Home tab, and I will give it all the borders. Then I'm going to go ahead and give it that thick outside border, just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and keep on following the steps. Control B to bold. Then this one right here, I'm going to go ahead and fill it with yellow background. Then I'm going to middle align and merge and center the title row. It's okay to merge and center the title row because it's above the header row. And then the header row, I'm just going to go ahead and center. Then I'm going to give the font a yellow color, and the fill is going to be black. And then I'm just going to click right here in the title cell, just like that. Now I can go ahead and stop recording. So I can go back to View, Macros, stop recording. So we just recorded this macro. And now what I can do is I can undo all these steps because I haven't run a macro yet. I just recorded one. So I can go through and I can just say, hey, let's undo all these steps. Cool. Well, now let's run a macro. So I can press a keyboard shortcut Alt F8 to view my macros. Or I can just go to macros, view macros, and there they are. Same thing. Right now I have only one macro, and it's a format macro. So I can just double click on it or just run it. Boom. There it is, just like that. Super fast, right? But now check this out. There's no undoing a macro. So once you ran it, you can't undo it. Just remember that. And here's what's really cool. Whoops, coming soon. Press the wrong button. All right, so here we have it. This right here, what you're seeing is the Visual Basic for Applications, VBA. This is the language of Excel right here. This is the code that made that macro happen. And this is the Visual Basic Editor, VBA editor. So you can write the code yourself, or you can have Excel write the code for you. It just depends on how deep you want to get into it. I mean, some people like to really customize their Excel forms in their Excel workbooks. So they have learned how to write VBA. And everybody that writes VBA tells me, hey, it's no big deal once you start writing it. It's easy. But here we're not talking about writing VBA. Here I'm going to show you how the Visual Basic Editor writes the code for you. And you can just watch it being written. So now I'm going to go right ahead and I'm going to go to View Macros. And I'm going to delete this macro. Delete it. Boom. And now the code is all gone. You notice that? No more code. All right. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how to open the Visual Basic Editor. And to do that, we're going to go to our Developer tab. To add our Developer tab, what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and right-click on any of the tabs or right-click on the ribbon and go to Customize the Ribbon. When we go to Customize the Ribbon, you will see under Customize the Ribbon, we can say Main Tabs, and you scroll down until you see the Developer tab. And this is disabled by default. Microsoft doesn't want you going in there and messing around without knowing what you're doing. But we're ready. Let's go ahead and do it. So we select the Developer tab, and we press OK. And now we have the Developer tab available. And then we can always just press right over here, Visual Basic Editor, or Visual Basic, which is Alt F11. And then there's the Visual Basic Editor. All right, so now let me go ahead and organize this. And I'm going to press Alt F11. And there's our Visual Basic Editor. Now I've got it set to Sheet 1. Let's go to Sheet 2 because we're going to be working in Sheet 2. Let's just keep working in this one. I'm just going to clear the formatting here. I'm going to go to my Home tab, Editing, and clear the formats just like that. All right. So now we're going to do this macro all over again. We've gone and added the Developer tab to the ribbon. We launched the Visual Basic Editor. And now we can see the Visual Basic Editor is going to start writing all the code for us right inside this white, we can call it a whiteboard. That's where the code is going to be written. So I'm going to go back to my record macro. So I'll go back to View, Macros, Record Macro. And here I'm going to give my macro a name. And we're going to call it the Format Macro. Format Sheet. And we're going to not give it a shortcut key. You know what? Nah, let's just not give it a shortcut key. And we're going to store the macro in this workbook. And the description is it formats the Infinity School. Boom. All right, that looks good. We'll do another live stream where I show you how to do the shortcut keys and then also add the shortcuts as an icon to your quick access toolbar. Ha yes. That's going to come next. So now we're going to go ahead and press OK. boom. And now, oops. Oh, you got to check this out. It says the syntax of this macro name isn't correct. That's good. I'm glad I made that error because we got to understand it. You can't have spaces. Excel doesn't like spaces. Now, if you want to have a space, you can do an underscore. And Excel doesn't like spaces in a lot of things. And it definitely doesn't like spaces in the names of your macros. So you got to read these. So I'm going to zoom right in over here. Zoom right in over here. And now that space is causing us a problem right here. I want it to look like there's a space, but actually no space. So I just do an underscore just like that. And then now I'm going to press OK. Boom. And now we're good. Now you see the macro is starting to record. You'll see the code appearing right over here. Okay. Now let me go ahead and it just put down that I selected that cell A1. So I'm going to press Control A. Boom. And now it's saying, did you see that? Look at it right there. Now it's saying that I selected the range A1 through C9. Now I'm going to go ahead and right click and I'm going to give it some borders. So all borders. Now watch the code. Boom. That's the code. And then now let's give it a thick outside border. So you got to look all the way down at the bottom. And then that's where the code is all appearing as it's being written. So now let me go right here and I'll press Control B to bold. I just bolded. And then now I'm going to go ahead and merge and center. So let me right click here and merge and center. And I'm going to adjust the alignment here and have it middle align. Then I'm going to right click and give it a yellow fill. Boom, just like that. And you're seeing the code appear. The code is appearing right here. It's been written for you. So you can have Excel teach you how to write code. And just so you know, when Excel is writing the code for you, it's adding a bunch of junk in there. So there's a person that's really good at writing VBA is going to look at this code and go, oh, I could have done it with a lot less code, simplified it. But that's the beauty of it. You don't need to learn the VBA code. You can just have Excel write it for you, or you can have Excel teach you. You can see what's going on here. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to center and I'm going to give it a yellow font and a black background. Then I'm going to click back up into my title row. And now I'm going to go ahead and stop my macro. So I'll go back to View, Macros, and stop recording. Just like that. Now I can go right ahead and undo all these steps right here. Whoop. And then I can go ahead and run the macro. Let's do one more. That's where I cleared the format. So we don't have a shortcut for the macro, but we can always press Alt F8 to view the macros. Alt F8. There's our format sheet macro. And then now we can just run it. Boom, bam. Now you know how to record a macro, and now you know how to launch the developer tab, where to find it, and how to look into the Visual Basic Editor and have it show you what the code is. And when you kick it up a notch, you can go in there and start editing code later on. But in the meantime, my friends, I want you to keep on learning. Come on now, keep on learning. And I also would like for y'all to do this. Open up your browser and just go to don'tgetmadgetskills.com. And you're going to land on this page right here. It's got the schedule of all our live classes coming up. And stay tuned because I've got a 30 tips workshop coming up. That's going to be 2 days of nothing but my 30 favorite Excel tips that I've picked up over the last 15 years of teaching Excel. So come on, my friends, get yourself some skills. Remember that I love you. Keep on learning. And most of all, don't get mad. Get skills. Aloha.